All right, lads. Hello and welcome to the Back Yourself Podcast. We are here for the Round 9 preview, but we're not calling it Round 9. It is Magic Round. Maybe the most watched NRL period outside of finals and definitely the most watched in the regular season. Everyone is excited for everyone that is going up for Brisbane this weekend. It is going to be a spectacle for sure. Now, one thing about Magic Round. When we first saw this particular slate, everyone was like, what the hell? NRL, you could have put, Penrith, Melbourne, Manly play someone else, Manly play Cronulla, Bulldogs play Manly, maybe that would have been a good game to see again. Roosters play Penrith or something like that. And you know what? Now that it's like they had a horoscope, because now that the round is here, you look at it and go, holy shit, it's pretty even, eh? Like, every single game is even. You're like, how the hell did they pull that off? But that is, I guess they got lucky out of it. I was going to, you know what? I doubt anyone can see it because of the lighting in here, but Magic Round. That's the magic of the round. But enough writing, enough talking. Let's get into the first game of Magic Round. And it kicks off on Friday, so we have an extra day. Make sure you guys watch the whole preview from start to finish. Every single game has a story to tell. And the biggest story, let's start with the NRL changing the rules. I don't know if I posted the video before. It will be before this, but it will be after they've already announced it. But at the time, I didn't know. The whole sin bin after the call, which I talked about in the last podcast, and that's been removed. So it's pretty good. So let's get into the round. And of course, the most important part of the round is the ins and outs. This time I have looked at the ins and outs because I'm excited for Magic Round, to be honest. Every game has a story. Every game has potential to be the underdog, be the favorite. It's turned into a fantastic round of footy. So ins and outs for Cronulla and the Parramatta Eels. Carl Iro named to return from a hamstring injury. We don't know if he's back, but he will be named to swap with Horati, who injured his knee, so convenient enough for them. However, Hamlin Welle stated to get his first game back from round 3 with a successful return to the New South Wales Cup last week, and he's the other forward named on the bench. Only other change. Para only one change from the round. Suspended forward Talangi is out. Charlie Geimer comes to the back row. And everything else is the same. Now, that's the first game, and we have a spread of 5.5 pretty much across every single bookie, creeping towards 6. So first thing first, and this will be definitely a reel because everyone needs to know from a betting perspective exactly what's going to happen this weekend. So first things first, every favorite is going to get demolished. So if you want to take favorites, take them now. Every single favorite is going to get hammered. It's just going to happen. There is going to be a stupid amount of people punting this weekend. People that don't watch the sport, people that do watch the sport, or people that just get baited in or impulsively look at the sport and be like, oh, that's interesting. How come, for example, Cronulla or Parramatta underdogs in this particular game? I'm ready to take Parramatta, whatever. But everything in general, it's especially lean favourites, they're going to be hammered this week. So like lines like this that are at the 5.5 or 6 number that you'll see, you're going to get 6 on the day. It's just a matter of time. So before I get into the analysis, I remember the last podcast ran out of water. So last thing, a bit of cleanup. Housekeeping. Hussein will be back. He's on a plane as we speak. Back from the homeland. So he'll be back for the review. He will watch the whole round. So he will have the context for the round itself. Now, Cronulla are at 5.5 point favourites. This is not a scenario I want to take Cronulla, but it feels like this stupid sport is making me take Cronulla in a way. Cronulla off a 5-day turnaround, which is the minimum you get in any single game, versus a team that has the maximum, you could argue, like off a bye. And Cronulla is exactly that. They played the most minutes out of any team, 84 minutes of footy, played on Sunday, and now have to travel to Suncorp to play Para, who are off a 12-day turnaround. All of that makes you lean Parramatta. Because you look at it and go, wow, I mean, Para should be refreshed. Moses has got another week under his belt. He's trained with the team. Cronulla, obviously, they don't look great after last week. They should have beat Tigers, but, you know, they lost it themselves with the Sid bins and just not defending Tigers really well, and they play a better halves combination than they did last week. And like I said, for the whole round, it's going to be impossible to tip. I'm taking the team on a 5-day turnaround. And the reason for it is Cronulla are a great side. I don't think people will doubt and say they're not that great. They are a great side. I don't think anyone's going to... at the moment, they're, 4-4? They're still in the top 8. Teams that are 4-4 are in the 8 right now, which is ridiculous. And this is so early in the season. But everyone knows they're a top 8 side, potentially a top 4 side. They have poor games. They don't play great in certain venues, mainly because of Hines, which I've said 1,000 times, so we're not going to get into that. And I just think this is the sort of game they just go out and win by 10 or 12 or something like that. Para are a good team, but they have been pushed a lot throughout the week. But we have to look at it in the lens of this Tigers team they defeated, and it changed their whole perspective of how Para are. The Tigers were not great. Tigers didn't have Galvin, and they gave up the start of the second half to give Para 3 tries and give him a lead, which they eventually came back from. They just didn't have enough gas to finish the job off. So I don't think, Para will have the gas, but Cronulla is going to just annihilate them through the middle of the park. I think, the logical sit there and think about it, what's happening in this game. If it gets to 6, you take Para. That's good logic, and I'm not going to argue anyone because I don't think, the whole round, I can't really argue anyone on any side. There's a reason to take every single team in this fucking round. And this one is exactly the same. I'm personally going to lean Cronulla. Not because I think they played great last week, not that I'm thrilled that they only have a 5-day turnaround. It's just that Para, I think going from beating Tigers without Galvin to only being under a try on a neutral, under a try underdogs to a team that is touted to make the 8. It will make the top 8. Maybe not top 4, but they will make the top 8. And Cronulla last week, I think, the Tigers game, there were excuses, but they should have won. And they should win these games. So to lose back-to-back to Tigers and Para is... Then we'll have to raise eyebrows. Is this Cronulla team even any good? So I'm going to take Cronulla. Spread-wise, at 5, I'm taking Cronulla. But like I said, this is going to creep to 6, if not 7, if not 8, depending on how how much money ends up being on Cronulla. Definitely not something that we're going to we'll have to. I'm thinking we do a ladder challenge, which a lot of people last year really, really enjoyed. So maybe we'll do it again. Just for Magic Round, though, because Magic Round was the main one. We did it after that, but it's not the best. Ladder challenge for Magic Round. I'm not someone that's going to put Cronulla spread in this, so I don't think there'll be a lot of spreads or head-to-head in my ladder, even if it gets to extreme levels. Just because I think every line is kind of on the money, and that's because there's a lot of money on it. The markets are absolutely flooded for the Magic Round, and they're just going to get flooded more. But I can only see it going in the favourites' direction. So for this game, Para fans, Seabass, you guys do have a chance. So does everyone else in the round that is a fan of this sport, and except for Manly, obviously they're not playing. But everyone else, there's a chance. Everyone's a chance this week. But I'm going to tip Cronulla and swallow the points of -5.5. Cronulla off a short turnaround against a Para long turnaround. In typical world, if Para had shown me something, or I wanted them to play last week, to be honest, just to see if first week back was a fluke. Moses probably needed that extra game. Para's not going to go out and win every game with Moses. They might win more games that they shouldn't, but they're not going to win this one, in my opinion. So I'm going to take the Cronulla and swallow the points of 5.5. I think the buyback on Para's side would be at 8 if it gets to it. But it might. We don't know how much money is going to come in on this. But yeah, that's the first game. It's very exciting. Both sides can win, and that's pretty much the context for the whole round, that both sides can win every single game. All right, game 2 of Magic Round, the feature match of the night of Friday. No feature in this. It's two shit tides, to be honest. But the Roosters host the Dolphins at Suncorp, which is not really hosting. Let's get into the ins and outs. Sandon Smith, and so the halves are the same, has made no change. Why didn't he just start with no changes to the 1-17? Anyway, return of Popclis Kafusi offsets the loss of Daniel Saifidi because he got injured, while Jeremy Marshall King has been named to start his first game suffering from a leg gash. So that is huge for the Dolphins, which sees Ray Stone shift back to the bench, and Donahue is back from an ankle injury and set to line up on the interchange. Inclusions are solid. So what the fuck's this bench? Okay, so yeah, just Donahue comes back in and Kerr. Wow, what a bench. This one I have a lean, and I know it's Magic Round, and this spread is pretty much 1.5 / the Dolphins are underdogs in some spots. Dolphins are favourites in some spots. Roosters are underdogs on tab. I think I've put that here. Yeah, Roosters should be underdogs. I'm going to take Dolphins in this game. Look, they played Raiders, and again, another team that's on a 5-day turnaround, but the thing is about Roosters is, I've actually been so right on a lot of their games, and it's coming from someone that doesn't like Roosters personally. I really despise them. It's actually so strange how good I am at predicting when they will give up and when they will try. And Roosters, if there's one team that's going to go up to Suncorp and literally have a fucking circus and party and do all the things and really have the magic, it's Roosters. Knowing that they play the first day, they can get it out of the way. They're already thinking about going on the piss. Roosters know they're fucked. And I think last week they played great footy. But again, it's just once in a blue moon. Anzac Day, we're going to fire up. Broncos, we're going to fire up. Penrith, as 24-point underdogs, we're going to fire up. Dolphins, fuck off. We're not going to fucking try. We're here, Magic Round. We're going to go link up with Fletch and Heine and just have a great time. So, look, that's what I think of Roosters. Dolphins, because of the way they lost last week, they're not going to have that. And if they'd won last week 100-0, then you could argue that. But because they lost from where they lost from and the way they lost, I don't think this team goes out there and goes, oh yeah, it's Magic Round, we're just going to lose it. No, they're going to... I think there's two complete different mindsets of two different teams. And Roosters could prove me wrong and, they want to make an 8 push, whatever. But I don't think that's going to happen. If big balls wise, depending on what I do in the first leg of the ladder, big balls wise, I would take Dolphins 13+. Their offense is elite, and we saw it carve up Raiders. Yes, the second half happened, whatever. I agree, the second half, they capitulated. But if they do that first half and just pull off that first half against Roosters, it will be the same scoreline, and I know Roosters will give up. So it's a very different scenario playing a Raiders side, which is now 3rd, to a Roosters side, which is 13th. So Dolphins in this one, I can't argue anything for the Roosters side. I know they're going to go out there and just play piss poor. And the ends this week, there's not many. It's 1-17. If they had some forwards, if Collins is still out, right? Yeah, Collins is still not there, or they've dropped him, whatever. Who cares? Dom Young still fucking at, what's it called? Probably Randwick race course. And the forwards look okay, but it matches Dolphins. Dolphins get back Marshall King, which is huge. A spot that they were using their 3rd string hooker last week. The back line is 1-7. Look, it matches up well, but I'm taking the Dolphins spine for sure. The Dolphins bench for sure. I don't think there's a spot on the field. And Roosters are that team that just a lot of people are going to back because it's Roosters. How come they're $1.90 playing Dolphins? Who are Dolphins? They're still regarded as the newcomers, and they're not that good. But if you're sharp, which I think I am, I'm looking at this Dolphins team and being all right, yeah, they had a blip in the radar, but this team won 3 in a row. Roosters would kill to win 3 in a row. They win once every 3 weeks. So this Dolphins team, now that it's got a bit of its strength back, Donahue returns, Marshall King returns, and Kafusi, which is huge. I can't lean any other way. Do wish Plath was playing, but it is what it is. It can't have it all. If Plath was playing, I think Dolphins would be outright favourites on all bookies. But right now, they're still underdogs on Sportsbet. I don't think that's the same across everyone else. So Dolphins would be my play in this one. And likely will be the play of the round. Looking at it now, I'm just like, all right, I lean Dolphins, and I'm so confident in them. I don't think anyone else even gets close to that lean, except for fucking some idiots, which we'll get to on Saturday. But right now, I could just lean Dolphins back at really home as well. I can't believe they're underdogs. I think they'll close as favourites. Maybe not, because it's Magic Round. If it was a normal round, I think they'll close as favourites. The Sharps will push it in the Dolphins' direction, but Magic Round, you're going to get a lot of casual money on Roosters, just with a lot of Roosters fans travelling up and a lot of Roosters fans watching this Friday night game because it's Magic Round. So I have to lean the Dolphins here. I think they're better than Roosters. There's still a chance at the 8. Roosters, they're one off. Trent Robinson thinks he's a sick cunt after winning one game, but I don't think there's anything good about him, to be honest, and you're just going to get the same old Roosters performance. So I'm going to lean the Dolphins. I think the Finns get up in this one, up the Finns. Shout out, Matt, because I know you love the Dolphins segment. So Dolphins in this one seems to be all good. Now, a quick water break, because this deserves like 50 minutes. All right. Truly, I don't think you could get a better Saturday. And in the sense of just comedy. And like, it will truly just be entertaining as to how these games go down, because every single one of them has just entertainment written all over it. And the first one is the pinnacle, I would say, for me at least. And for saying who'll be watching it with me, wow, it's going to be incredible, this game. South host Knights. Holy shit. Let's go through the South changes, because they're the most. Jai Gray returns to fullback with Latrell Mitchell suspended, of course. Wyden goes to 5'8" to partner Jaden Sullivan. Ewan Aiken moves to the back row, from back row to centre. Changes will see Talis Duncan promoted to the starting side. Humano returns from concussion, which is good for South. He comes on the interchange. Fletcher Myers and LeBlanc are other new faces on the bench as Dodd drops to the reserves. Dodd wasn't any good. Knights, return of Jacob Saifidi and Alan Elliott. Return from calf injuries with Saifidi in the front row and Elliott on the interchange. Kafusi returns to... Frizzell returns to lock. With Matt Croker shifting to the bench, Tyrone Thompson and Kant reserves back to the reserves. Gamble is a chance of making a return from a broken nose and listed on the extended squad. We don't want Gamble, so I don't even know why NRL fucking wrote it. The cog is still there, so who gives a fuck about Gamble? Anyway, that's my take on Knights lineup. Knights lineup in general, fuck me, boys. This is it. Knights. This is my speech for Adam O'Brien. If you want a job come Sunday, you better fucking win this game. And in my opinion, if they doesn't win, Knights board, you can sack him and pay. I don't care. Just pay him. He fucking sucks. Look at this South side. Let's just look at it head to toe. Their spine this week is Jai Gray, who leads Dally M voting, sure. Jack Wyden, who is captain. Fuck me, South. Jaden Sullivan, who had that one game he was good, whatever. And Peter Marmazoulis. Peter! They're atrocious. Atrocious. Campbell, Graham and Best will be a good fight. Ewan Aiken on Gagai, the battle of the 50-year-olds. Marju and yeah, look. The Knights forwards should be able to beat these forwards. The Knights spine is arguably better. At least they have fucking Kalen. And the forwards are just like... The backline's about the same. The forwards are in the Knights' favour with Lucas, Pierce, Paul. Look at this forward pack. How the fuck are they underdogs? Jacob Saifidi, Crossland, Thompson, Lucas, Pierce, Paul, Frizzell. Wake up, Knights. Come on. It's South, for God's sake. Not that the South, Kepi, Totola, Kulamatangi, Talis Duncan, Jai Arrow. I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about this. LeBlanc, Hubner, who's been great. Moali, who's shit. And Myers, why the fuck is he there? Come on, Wayne. Nah. Look, Knights may have, in my opinion, the thing in this game is, I think a lot of people, and you know what, it's been included across everyone. Whoever I've said this round, fucking Titans have a better chance than Knights, which is not true, in my opinion, and not the bookies' opinion either. Knights are going to win. Like, they could be my upset alert for Magic Round, and they will be in my ladder challenge. Knights are going to win this game. Look, They have to win one. Let's just say they're due. Let's just put that in. They're due a win. Like, they're shit, but they're due a win. Let's put that in fact. 2, they get Fifita and Elliott back, who are decent forwards. Not that they need punch through the middle, but you know what I mean. And South, this is the players they have out this week, and they're still favourite, right? Latrell Mitchell, obviously Cam Murray, Cody Walker, Humphreys, Johnson. They're literally... Is that their like top 5 players outside of Wyden? I would say that's their top 5 players. If Schuster plays, they'll give me a struggle if fucking taking Knights. But because Schuster's hilarious. But their top 5 players are all out and they're still favourites. So what this is saying to me at 2.5, which you can get 2.5 on Knights right now, plus 2.5. You can get, if they all played, let's say all of them are worth 8, 9. Cam Murray is worth 3 on his own. Cam Murray, okay, we don't have to include him because he was never going to play. So if everyone else played, this I would assume probably be 10.5, 11.5. And literally no one would lay 11 with South. No one's going to go, all right, I'm going to lay 11 with South. They're fucking atrocious. You can't lay 11 with South. So how can you lay 2 with nothing? Like literally nothing. It's Wyden and Sullivan. And a Campbell Graham, who's a centre, and Jai Gray. If you're that terrified of Jai Gray and that he's going to win every Dally M point and they're just going to keep fucking winning, go for it. Take South. Don't even think about Knights. But it's like they've made the price has made the choice for me. I have to take Knights. If Knights were underdogs, if Knights were 2-point favourites, I would say, then I would be like, fuck, no, that's a bit different. I would be like, all right, South, because like, how can you put Knights favourite in any scenario? And I think that's what this has come up with. It's like they can't sit there and go, all right, we put Knights as favourite. It's not possible. Like, I don't even think they've thought about it and go, nah, we can't. We will do anything in our power to make sure Knights are underdogs. They can't be favourites in any game until they win one. That's basically my thought process on this. And if that's the case, then we're just going to get a freebie on Knights. Not getting it wrong, Knights is never a freebie because they're fucking garbage. But in this case, I think the 2 points are for free. At the moment, it's 2 or 1 on Sportsbet. It's just on 2. It's leaning towards 1. You can get 2.5, I think, on Ladbrokes at $1.85 right now. So jump on it. I think I will have that in my ladder. I can't see South winning this game. Latrell Mitchell, too big of a loss, and everyone else, like I've just mentioned, the rest of the team is also out. It's not like they get anyone else back. If Cody Walker was playing, sure, what Johnson wouldn't make a difference. If Cam Murray was playing, yeah, of course, but obviously he wasn't going to be there. Even if Humphreys was playing, and you have a spine of Gray, Wyden, Humphreys, and Mamazoulis, I'd be like, oh, they could beat Knights. But Sullivan being there as well, it's one too much for me, and I think this South team, like, the Wayne effect is slowly rubbing off. And it might not, because it's Knights, they might like continue winning, but I think it's worn off a little bit. The Wayne effect really was in full motion until they went to Perth and lost one. Since then, they've just looked atrocious. And it's not just, it's obviously not Wayne's fault. Like, the amount of injuries they've had is insane. So just keeps happening. They're part of the plague. Obviously, Latrell's only suspended, but you know what I mean. They're in a plague right now, and I don't know how Knights... I know Knights have been atrocious, but you're going to have to bite the bullet. One of these games they will win, and this seems like a spot that the bookies have just said, I can't put them as favourite because they're fucking shit. So if you guys want to take them, we're just going to keep bringing it down until maybe they get back to pick them. But right now, as an early mail, I'd still take Dolphins over this. Like, Knights, you never know. They're really bad, but I would say Knights are definitely my second pick of this. I can't believe they're 2.5 against this South lineup. All right, let's get into maybe the two sets of fans that hate me the most, and they play each other this week. All right, the middle game on the Saturday slate is the New Zealand Warriors taking on the Cowboys. And let's get to ins and outs because that's important with these two since they always 1-17. Warriors have a settled squad and they look to build from last week's win. Coach Webster stuck with the same starting side that got the job done with only one change on his. So tomorrow Martin comes onto the bench with laboured out concussion. Again, no news. 1-17 for Cowboys. Harrison Ever, 15 in late promotion last weekend. Forward, there's my name. It could make. Okay, so Cowboys might be putting an under-19s forward on the bench. Whatever. Some kid. Apparently he's gone, so whatever. They can bring him in if he wants. It's the same garbage. All right. Both teams are bound to prove me wrong because someone has to win, even though I wish probably this was a draw. Someone has to win. What's infuriating in this game is the way I see Warriors win. I'm leaning Warriors. And the reason for it is Cowboys' game right now, it looks flashy, it looks great, and they do play great footy when they throw the footy around. That's the polar opposite, I would say, for Warriors. They complete well, go through the middle, kick long, chase hard. And I said this last week about Cowboys, is that the one weakness about them is you just don't know what you're going to get, and sometimes it's going to click and sometimes it's not. Warriors so far have been very consistent. Not that I'm saying they're good, but and anyone in the comments that is going to come out and say, why don't you think they're good? They've played teams that have given them wins. And in my opinion, Cowboys can do that as well. And when I say give them wins, is making errors, not completing, giving ill-disciplined sides. And if you're a team, and I think like Warriors, this is why they struggled against Raiders, which Raiders have proved how good they are, and why they struggled against Melbourne. They're both sides that just complete well. Like, they don't make errors. They do, but they're not that ill-disciplined. They're good sides. And we saw Warriors against those sides. They're top 4 teams. That's why they don't make errors. But on a Magic round day, Magic could happen and Cowboys could be disciplined. So that's why I'm saying, like, Warriors is like, everyone says how good they are. And they have been great. I'm not going to take anything away from them. But in saying that, I know I can see how to beat them. And when you are so one-dimensional that you get to a point that you guys need the other team to do something for you in order for you guys to score tries or win games, eventually that's not going to happen. Is it too early in the season? And is Cowboys the team to not fucking give you guys errors? No, because it's Cowboys. And at any point, they can make 20 errors and just give Warriors the win. So that's why Warriors are a good pick in this scenario, because Cowboys, like, if they turn it on, Warriors don't have a chance in hell. Neither does anyone in the league. Cowboys, when they're on and offloading and fucking drink water, 4-meter cutout, 40-meter cutout passes, Talangi's coming out on the inside, and then they're off, like, yeah, you won't beat that. When they play Razzle-Dazzle, you won't beat them. Like, Warriors was be like, all right, we can't score like this. These guys are scoring out well. So, but that shit doesn't work every week. And I'm going for the consistent side. Warriors are the consistent team. I know what I'm going to get out, Warriors. Kick long, kick chase hard, complete well, and be disciplined. And Cowboys are none of those. Absolutely none of those. And Titans last week showed when Cowboys did make errors, they concede points very easily. 3 tries in 5 minutes. Yes, Titans concede 50. But Titans were winning this game 18-6. Because of Cowboys. Cowboys just gave them the ball. And if they're going to do that against a team like Titans, and then they get a roll on and everyone's going to be like, oh, fuck, well, Cowboys are good, eh? No, it's Titans. 2, who are 12-point underdogs this week, which is incredible. And 2, Warriors are the complete polar opposite to Titans. So Warriors have been the team that's, super good, well in completions, forcing errors from the other team, kick long, chase hard, all of that stuff. And they have a great contingent in Brisbane, fans-wise. I have to say it, and I guess Warriors fans might be happy, but up the wires in this one. Cowboys, I personally still think they could capitulate. They are such a high variance team that they genuinely could still come last. And I'm not booked in and not sold on it being Titans and Knights. Titans a little bit more because Dez thinks he's a gangster already and changing shit by dropping David Fifita, the fucking idiot. But Knights, I genuinely don't think will come last. When it clicks for Knights, their defense isn't bad, and they really only need to score 24 points and they'll win games. So Like, I don't think Knights are down there. Genuinely, Cowboys are a chance. Warriors, I think, like, unless they go back to being really ill-disciplined, I don't think it's possible to go... Like, I don't think they're a top 8 team, but I don't think it's possible to come last. Cowboys, I can still see it happening. Yeah, okay, they scored 50. It's Titans. Like, scoring 50 against Titans is like, I don't know, scoring 10 past Melbourne, in my opinion. Or, scoring 18 past Melbourne, or Brisbane, or Cronulla, or Manly, or Penrith, not Penrith these days, or Bulldogs. Bulldogs is a good point. Bulldogs is the best one, actually. If you score 50 points against Titans, it's like scoring 15 against Dogs. Literally. So, don't think of it as any fucking special thing, especially the way Titans just gave them the game. I'm going to take the Wars in this one. Should they be underdogs? Yeah, probably. Like, everyone's going to take Cowboys, so I'm not surprised. But, yeah, the Wars in this one, I think they keep going. And I think they're a team that could make the 8. The way they're playing is consistent, and they're really the only teams they've lost to is 2nd and 3rd place. But, like I've said about Warriors in the past, they're easy to beat. And in the finals, they will be exposed if they get there. Because they're very one-dimensional. They need the other team to do things for them in order to win games. It's not that, like, forcing them to do it, sure, but knocking on the ball, like, a lot of the time, yeah, they might make a good tackle, but that doesn't happen every single fucking time. So you got to be just disciplined and don't make errors and kick long and chase hard, and you'll beat Warriors. I think that's pretty simple. But Cowboys, there's nothing in this team that represents that for me. It's razzle-dazzle, it's throw the footy around and give it to Drinkwater and hope he can break the line, or Dearden. That's it. And that's not going to work past Warriors. So I'm going to tip the Wars in this one, and hopefully they don't stitch me up and lose by 50. Like some team did, i.e. the next game. This one is truly the most emotional out of all. So strap your bags in. This, if it wasn't for the last game, might be game of the round. Tigers host Dragons at Suncorp. Of course, for Magic Round, we continue. Benji's stuck with the same 18 because he can't drop Galvin anymore, realizing we can't fucking win a game without him. And it's the same 1-17. Dragons have turned Young Gun and put King Toy... Illis is gone. Dropping back to the reserves. Sione Fine has also been dropped. Tip Tigers. Is this cunt fucking on bags? Corey Allen replaces Fainu, who did nothing wrong, anyway. And Hamish Stewart returns from a concussion at lock. Jack DeBellin is shuffling to the interchange with Blake Laurie dropping out of the lineup. Tigers aren't 2.5? Holy shit. What? It's Corey Allen. Corey Allen's in this team. Look at him. Look at him. Are you guys serious? What the hell did Fainu do to get dropped? All right. Well, I was... look, don't stitch my team up, Dragons, but I don't even know if potentially you can. Dragons could come last. The way this guy's going, anything's possible. What the fuck's this? Why? It doesn't make any sense. At least bring Fine back. He's literally dropped him out of the team completely. Holy shit. Anyway, that shocked me. I didn't realize that this guy isn't playing. Tigers are 1-17. Tigers get a bit more rest because they played on Sunday and they played Saturday, and Dragons, but they don't deserve rest anyway after they played on Anzac Day. Look, Dragons can win. Tigers can win, but Corey Allen thing, he's a winger at the end of the day, but he's just really bad. Tigers look very good with Galvin. What can I say? Zarafos brothers and Harry, we're going to have some great banter this week, but Tigers are better than Dragons. Let's state facts. Tigers with Galvin are better than Dragons. Tigers without Galvin, you guys going to have it. We're an awful team. But I know Dragons. And for me, last week, if Flano actually has control of the locker room and gets them to a point that they're able to G up and really fight for this Magic Round and show how good they are, because I don't think one of these idiots had even a sip of alcohol over this long weekend and Anzac Day because of the way they played on Anzac Day itself. Tigers, on the other hand, are the complete other scenario of they literally think they won the NBA championship by beating fucking Sharks, which it was in Golden Point. Dewey kicked the goal. So many things. It's such a good game to watch. It hurts, but I have to take Dragons. It's a bounce back factor. That's all it is. Tigers are the better team, but the bounce back for Dragons is going to be something that Tigers will be like, holy shit, what the hell? Making these changes, adding a new halfback, adding a new winger, which I still think is dumb. Stewart is pretty good returning. Dylan Egan, they've got a lot of young boys who've been playing hard. Couchman's been playing out of his mind. As a big test with Terrell May, who's been Tigers' best so far this year outside of Galvin. But look, Tigers should technically win. Nathan's still there, so that's good. Tigers should technically win. They are the better team. But look, Benji is... One thing about Benji, he's a very relaxed coach. And I don't think anyone's going to argue me on that. He's a very relaxed coach. He won't... Would he have drilled to them, we can do this every week? Maybe, in the review. But on Sunday night, if anyone was in the streets of Sydney or Leichhardt or, in the city, did you see a Tigers player? I wouldn't be surprised. And look, fair credit to them. They won. And they're going up to Magic Round really hyped and playing a Dragon side who was atrocious last week. But in that scenario, I want to take the atrocious team. The way this sport has gone out is that the team that's played atrocious comes back and plays hard. And Dragons have been the bane of my existence because when they do play hard, it's always the games I don't tip them. But I think in this game, I have to take... It hurts to tip against fucking Tigers. Again, this is the third week in a row. But it's just not the right time to play Dragons. And they have some fight. They haven't played awful outside of last week. And whenever Dragons played awful under Flanagan last year, as shit as they were, they still played good the week after. And they play good. We know how Dragons can defend. Galvin will still pick them apart. And Galvin has been exceptional. But it's just a bounce back factor for me. And bring a new halfback in, bringing new life into the team with all the rookies and all the young boys that have all probably played New South Wales Cup together. I know this is a different stage, playing NRL, but having the lights of Magic Round and really getting into the atmosphere that they can play free and relax. Tigers may tense up a little bit, have some expectations after last week. And credit so, Tigers should have expectations. They're almost to the point that they should make the 8 by beating Cronulla. And if they beat Dragons, they just make another step forward towards that. With Galvin, really, Tigers don't have an excuse. We've seen how good they are with Galvin. So it's simply, okay, if they win this, it will say to me, okay, Tigers are a really good shout to make the 8. And with Galvin, as long as he's fit the whole year, we'll make it. I'm not doubting that, but I think this is a bad spot to play Dragons. If it was someone else if Dragons had won last week, I think this was a perfect spot for Tigers, but Dragons lost. They've had to sit on them a bit longer. I'm sure Flanagan's absolutely drilled them and shown now he's not afraid of dropping someone that Ilias was brought into the club and expected to stay at halfback for a long time, but he's not afraid to drop him after one really atrocious performance. If you look at all their performances where they've lost, Ilias was bad, but they only lost by 8 to Dogs. They beat Melbourne. I can't think of all their games, but I can't think of a game they got smashed outside of last week. And then, Flanagan has been that ruthless and gone, you know what, he has to go. And don't get me wrong, Ilias is an atrocious player and he's played atrocious, but that's not the point of this, is that Flanagan's not afraid. And I think that just shows the rest of the team, fuck me, he expects so much from us. We got to step up this week. Benji is more the relaxed type. That last week, okay, you guys played great. 1-17, boys, let's go do it again. Basically the way I just said it. All right, let's do it, lads. We're going to smash him. What the fuck? I can't imagine the film review that Flanagan put together, because from the first minute, Dragons looked awful. So I think it just continues. So I'm going to tip the Dragons. Love my Tigers, but bad spot to play the Dragons in this one. And going up to Magic Round, I think the Dragons team is going to be really revved up for this. Now, so Xerophos Brothers, hope you enjoy that. Round 9 continues with the triple header on Sunday as well. Magic Round has 3 games on Sunday, so no Thursday game. And we started off with the fucking inbreds of the league, the Gold Coast Titans and the Dogs. All right. Titans forward David Fifita has been relegated to the reserves as Coach Hasler looks to spark his side. Yeah, that's going to spark him. Joloff is suspended, so another Fasul Malawi comes in. Cleese, Haas, and Palu, who are actually better forwards, onto the bench. Titans confirmed. Brock Gray's season's over after tearing his ACL. Look, I don't want to see anyone tear his ACL, but this guy, I can't believe how many penalties he gives away in sin bins and stuff. But anyway, Bulldogs Sorella has been forced to name a handful of changes. Burton, Curran, and Tupouniua are all suspended, so will the War from Brisbane get him back? In this one, Bailey Howell goes to 5'8". Suluka Fafita, a.k.a. Haas, takes the place of Curran and Curtis Moran and Taff are on the bench. Shout out Matt. Shout out Chris Creas. Your Bulldogs, holy shit, are 12.5-point favourites on Sportsbet. Titans are $4 on 4 losses in a row, and Dogs obviously have just lost their game to Brisbane. Dogs with the longest turnaround of any team. 9-team turnaround, playing a Titans side off an 8-day turnaround? They play on Saturday? 8-day turnaround. But Dogs also were at Suncorp, so I don't know if they've come back home or come back. I guess Matt will confirm it, but yeah, travel might be an issue, but if they were able to come back home, then maybe it isn't. Dogs still have, their spine. I don't know how Montoya got away with what he did, but he's still there. Titans have a comparable spine, but obviously not to the level of Stephen Crichton and Kiraz, the elite players there. Halves-wise, and you know what? They're fucking the same this week because of Hayward. But he's been great as a replacement, but he's just not a half. Forwards-wise, I'd love to say Titans are better, and on paper they probably are, but it's Titans. And so many people have belief in him. Like, I couldn't believe how many people said to me this week, oh, do you think Titans are 12? And usually I'm the one to first jump on a big spread like that and say to you guys, all right, these guys are good. They're not. And I've said it 1,000 times. Des Hasler, he's done some great things as a coach, but what has he done for Titans, realistically, other than drop David Fifita every other week? Realistically, it looks like Justin Holbrook all over again. Yeah, he's transformed their game when Kinney was there. Yeah, Kinney's been great. The outside backs, Cam Pereira has improved. Fermor looks fantastic. All of that stuff. He brought Reg, but really they haven't done much. The only thing that gives me a problem is in Magic Round, anything can happen. And don't get me wrong, I will never tip Titans. If anyone tips Titans, I love to hear your rationale in the comments. I don't think they can win. Can they ambush and lose by 2? Maybe. Can they go win? Fuck no. Titans are atrocious lineup. And it's not even the paper. It's not even the team on paper. Minus David Fifita, of course. It's not even the team on paper that's the problem. It's that they just, within seconds or any call that goes against them, give up. And you're playing a team that literally has no give up in them. You saw last week, after the first half, they were down 34-0, absolutely pouring down rain, no reason to even go out there and really try again. And they still put 3 tries on Broncos and at least put it back to 18, won the second half, and looked somewhat respectable. Not respectable, but you know what I mean. It looked better. Titans were the polar opposite. Titans led at halftime 18-12. Had every hope in the world that they could go on and win this game, and lost the second half 38-0. And it was their own mistake. Of course, they made some errors. They made some penalties. And it was just that they're not disciplined. They don't get back on side. They look at the ball and go, He went through, guys. Yeah, I conceded the 6 point. It was my edge this time. It wasn't yours. It was mine. And they're like take respect for it. It's fucking ridiculous. Derby scored a hat trick. So why can't Haywood score one? So it's literally, that's my point. I can't. Maybe my mindset will change come Sunday, depending on, all right, like the line gets pushed to 14 because everyone's going to back Dogs. And this is the favourite of the round. So, like, most favoured. So this one's probably going to be in the most, like multis. So come Sunday, and this is a huge note, is that the bookies don't calculate how much liability they have on a particular game until the day for multis because there's other legs involved. So, for example, if you have a leg on every single game and you go all the way through to Sunday, it means that these guys have the liability of whatever your stake on that game, and it's only calculated at that point. And it's game by game. So if you get all through the other 5 games and you get to the 6th game and you have Dogs head-to-head or Dogs minus 12 or 11, whatever you get it at, it's going to push it so, okay, there's more money on that. It doesn't calculate it up front. And you'll often see the biggest shifts like 45 to 30 minutes before the game. And the biggest shifts then is when the multis are now starting to move and truck along and hit. And that's when you're like, oh my God, it's 13. Oh my God, it's 14. Oh my God, it's 15. What? How did it move up so quickly? It's because like it's not that people are putting money on, which they will. There's that, but also all the multis, all the trails that have happened in the past, all the legs that they've put together in the past have all rolled on and eventually got to, we need all of this liability is on Dogs, so we have to push it out. That's just how their models work. So it could be 14. 14, I think. Why would Dogs go there and beat them by 14? Like, truly. 14 might be enough for me to take Titans, but at 11 I can't. I have to take Dogs. Like 11's too short. Titans, like within a second, they concede 12 points, and against the gritty, tough Dogs side who got exposed last week, and the league now is expecting them to do so much more. I think the expectation will come to light, and Dogs, obviously for tipping comps, tipping Dogs and swallowing the 11 points with Bulldogs. All right, on to the second last game of Magic Round, and really the magic really begins. Once you've actually done the whole round, and it's a great round, but the last 2 games are definitely the spectacle of them all, and they've planned it like that. Maybe not the last one, they didn't think it would be that great, but wow, it's going to be an insane game, that last game. Penrith, Broncos coming up next. All right. Penrith and the Broncos, this is your late mail or early mail / lineups. Garner returns to centre. Why? However, Star Toto's at least 1 week away. I actually thought he was back. Summerton has been named a hooker. He's shit. While Shido is ruled out with an eye injury. Trent Talau said his second game of the season and shouldn't be there. Sorensen will miss the clash after he's unsuccessful with the judiciary Tuesday night. With who? So Sorensen's out. So Sorensen was on the... oh my fucking God. So I assume Papali'i starts. So the bench is going to be Talau, Lindsay Smith, Gaia, and Patella. I'm going to get these names wrong. Holy fuck. Edge forward Ricky returns. I hate Ricky, but yeah, sure. Returns from injury, infection, and back row. Starting lineup here, Cora shifted to the interchange and Smooth the 18th man. So really no change. How much did Broncos celebrate last week, you reckon? Or you think Madge kept them in line? Broncos like Panthers. I'm sorry, boys. Holy shit, they're bad. I mean, wow. This is the pack come game day. Obviously, it looks good on paper, but the bench is going to be Talau. Let's just get this straight. This is the bench. For anyone wondering, this is going to be the bench. Trent Talau, Lindsay Smith, Mawik Gaia, and Liron Patoa. You want me to fucking take these cunts? They're atrocious. I mean, There's a reason why the line has kept going out towards 4. And some spots it's plus 4.5. And I was like, why the fuck are Brisbane that much favoured? Like, they won the comp last week. Another team on a 9-day turnaround playing a Penrith side who got absolutely demolished by Manly. And yeah, it's dire straits for Penrith. At this point, they have to win a game. And Magic Round could be the game that they turn it around. And Penrith Broncos, like, felt like in parts last week they got lucky. And they jumped out to a 32-point lead. Obviously, 2 sin bins. A lot of shit went against the Dogs. But Brisbane were the team that they actually exposed them very well. I'd love to sit here and say take Penrith because they're due a win. But this team isn't due a win. Backline atrocious. Jenkins and Garner still there. Still no To'o. Halves, well, Blaze is there, but sure. The forwards are just like Summerton, Henry. Who else is it? Like, starting wise, I don't think it's that bad outside of Summerton and Henry. But the bench is just, holy shit. It might be one of the worst bench I've seen, like, in a long time. No hope. Like, as soon as they come on, they better hope Jensen, Piakora, Jaden Hunt, who isn't good anyway, and Corey Pakes are atrocious. So other than that, like, or Haas plays the whole game. If Haas plays the whole game, they literally won't be able to tackle him. Like, yeah, there's a reason why this is 2.5. There's a reason why it's 4.5 on Ladbrokes, and Sportsbet has been asleep this entire time, and you can still get it at minus 2.5. Is that it? It's this Penrith team, like, are truly getting to the level of desperation mode, and that might be your only argument for Penrith. Other than that, Brisbane are better than them. At home, just beating Dogs, literally the same team as last week. Madge is probably drilled to them. That was probably your only performance that you guys actually put out. They didn't even put out the whole 80. They put out the first 40. And again, the last 40, they weren't great. I'm sure he's drilled to them. Reynolds, obviously, if he was out, then it would be a different case. But he seems to be playing through the shoulder injury. There's still no Walsh and still no Ezra, man. So if it gets something ridiculous, like gets a 6.5 against Penrith, then obviously you take Penrith with the points. But I don't think it's still 2, so you can get $1.66 head to head. I can't see Brisbane losing this game. The better team, they played great last week. Will they replicate it again? Yeah, even if they play like an A-B level, they don't play the A star that they were playing before. They play like a B standard. They will beat this Penrith side. Penrith are nowhere near that Dogs team they played last week, and that forward pack is just not going to cut it against Carrigan and Haas, who are leading this team so well. Through Reynolds and Ben Hunt as well. So it is an absolute game. Everyone's going to have their eyes glued at 4 p.m., 4:05. It's going to be a great watch. But for me, there's only one way to lean. I have to take Broncos and Broncos with the swallow the points of 2. If it gets to 6, I think that's when you could be like, all right, take Penrith. I don't think Penrith can win. I think Brisbane will be the favourite. That likely is winning. There's one other favourite that obviously I think will win the last game as well. But, yeah, I got nothing else to say. That bench is atrocious. Penrith don't look great. They didn't look great last week. They got exposed in defence, and that's the staple. And scoring-wise, they're not a great scoring team. Regardless of the year you give me, they're really not a great scoring team. They're a better defensive team, and the defence does not look great. And This Broncos side has way too many weapons on the edges, even with Cobbo at fullback. I would take the Brisbane Broncos. Now to the final game of the round and game of the round, in my opinion. There is nothing else that beats this game, and it's the Melbourne Storm, the second-placed Melbourne Storm, playing the third-placed Canberra Raiders. An absolute banger to end the round. Melbourne's positive news is Failongo is named on the wing. Don't know how he passed his HIA, but we'll take it. Kamikamitha's on track to return from an ankle injury and selected on the interchange with Lazarus dropping out of result. Nelson has been named in the extended spot and might be elevated to the 17 with his successful return last week. Raiders, no changes, no reason to change it. Ethan Strange and Fogarty combine again in the halves. Papali set to make impact off the bench, and Sasangi is your 18th man. What a game this is going to be, and the spread is firmly at 5.5 in the direction of the Melbourne Storm at $1.50 favourites. This is going to be an absolute banger to end the round. Game of the round, whatever you want to label it. Put your eyes ready. Get your alarm set for 6:05 probably, or 6:10. When's kickoff? 6:10? What the hell's going on? 6:25. Get your alarms ready. Whatever you're doing, drop them because this is going to be a game of the century. Let's do the Melbourne front. Haven't played great. Haven't put 80 minutes together. Don't have Harry Grant. Don't have Howlett still. Have Meaney returning. Let me try and get everything right. Yes, don't have Howlett still. Don't have Warbrick, but Farlonger has been electric. No Harry Grant, so Bronson Garlick is still there, who's shit. And the rest of the team looks pretty good. And maybe no Nelson, or maybe it is. Raiders on the other front are absolutely full strength. There's not one player that I wouldn't want in this team, and they are all named and ready to play. They are just on a roll right now. This Raiders side looks fantastic. And I have to lean Raiders. And it might be a shock. They could go fuck it up because it's Raiders. But the way Melbourne play through the middle of the park is not something you want to play Raiders against. Raiders' forte has been through the middle of the park. Offloading, running it hard, having two... I want to say Owen Paddy is probably better than Riley Smith right now. Owen Paddy is so good. When he comes on, it's like, oh my God, where was this? He's basically Starling, but a lot better. And the 1-2 impact is fantastic. The edge back rows have both been great. Outside of Owen Paddy, who's a rookie, I would say Matt Nicholson has been the signing of the year. He's been incredible on the right edge. And he's keeping players like Zach Hoskins, the Dahlia medalist himself, out of the lineup because of how good he's playing. Hudson Young is back in a New South Wales jersey. The front row, Tarpany is always going to do his job, and Papali's done a great job off the bench. Fogarty now has confirmed that he's moving to Manly next year, which is a shame for the Raiders. The backline is doing its job. Not that they're doing anything special, to be honest. They're leaning off their forwards and making good runs. Melbourne have a lot of pluses as well. They have the better talented halves. They have a very talented fullback. Pappy's getting in the conversation for New South Wales. That's how good he's playing. Forward pack-wise, I think, is where they lack. I think Stefano's been good, but you're talking about this Raiders pack, who's just been rolling through teams. And they rolled Dolphins in that second half. Dolphins gave them a helping hand, but wow, Raiders made a lot of meters. And I can't not tip Raiders. I actually might tip them to win, and they might be my upset alert. I think Raiders through the middle of the park is their forte, and Melbourne are vulnerable. And last week, they played South, and South said shit. And South really didn't expose it. But Dolphins, the way they beat Melbourne was just attack Bronson Garlick, attack that middle of the park. And Ricky Stewart, he's not a fucking stupid coach. He knows what to do. And I think last week just gave him so much hope. Did they celebrate a lot? They might have. Did they go off the rail? They might have. But Raiders are it doesn't matter what they do. You know Ricky's going to have them ready. And in such a big game, in such a big occasion, to close off, a round that everyone will be watching, everyone's eyes will be on, I think it's perfect for Raiders to come and ambush this team. Through the middle of the park is where their forte is, and that's where Melbourne have been vulnerable. Melbourne can get points on Raiders. Raiders aren't an elite defensive team. They're actually awful. But too many points leaked through the middle of the park, and right now you can probably get an alternate almost at 6.5 for Raiders. So you're almost getting a try with a team that's in form, won 4 in a row and flying. No changes, 1-17. There will be a week that they're going to regress. It could be this week, as soon as they face a competition like Melbourne, but they don't often back down to the good sides. It's usually some moron that goes beats them, i.e. the Manly game and obviously the Cowboys game, which they gave Cowboys a win. But those types of games are the games that they really mess it up against in a big game, and we've seen them in big games, i.e. the Broncos game the first time down in Canberra. They put them to the saw, and Canberra are now ready to prove themselves. Dogs had that opportunity last week, all right? Can you prove yourselves against Brisbane? They flopped. Raiders, I don't think, do that. Raiders have 2 games that are very important. They have this Melbourne game, and then they end up playing Dogs as well, which are 2 games that will put them in position. Can they win them both? Probably not. Do I think this one's a better spot for them? I think it is. It suits their style more. And the weaknesses of Melbourne is through the middle, and that's where Raiders have been great. Last game of the round, I think this one is going to be your upset alert, most likely. I'm going to tip the Canberra Raiders. The third place side being +6 is insane. And Melbourne, not great through the middle of the park. Didn't look great against South. Have problems without Harry Grant. Yes, Pappy's playing out his mind. Yes, they have Jerome Hughes, who's incredible. Munster also hasn't been great. But they have issues everywhere. The back line is, a makeshift, really, with no Howlett and no Warbrick. Filongo, trust me, I'm sure Filongo and Pappy will light up the crowd in Magic Round, but I just can't tip them. I think this Raiders team is very, very good. They're in my 8, and they probably stay there for a little while until they prove me wrong, and maybe this week they will. But I think this Raiders team is on the high. So I'm just going to keep going with the high and take the Canberra Raiders. I have tipped a few underdogs this week, but it's Magic Round. I think everyone has a chance this week outside of Titans, in my opinion. But I know a few people don't agree with that and think Titans have a chance. But yeah, I think that wraps us up for Magic Round. Like I said, this will be the last podcast with just me. So thank you guys for all your support. It's been really good, running it just by myself for a while. And I'm glad you guys are still enjoying it. It's going to be a lot different come next week. We're going to have that dynamic that we talk shit, and obviously we're going to get through Warriors Cowboys, which is going to be, I don't know what both of us are going to say about that game, it doesn't matter who wins, really. Because Warriors will go 6-2. Is that right? 6-2, 7-2, 6-2. Surely they haven't won 6 games already. Let's just double check. I think they've only won 5. Or Cowboys win 5 in a row or some fucking garbage. How many have they won in a row? Yeah, they've won 4 in a row, right? And Warriors are 5-2. So they're either going to be 6-2 or Cowboys have won 5 straight. So, it's a lose-lose situation in that for us, at least for a personal point of view. And a lot of people are like, you just talk shit about teams. Yeah, we do. It's not that we have bias. We watch every single game and we compare them to their peers, and they're not as good as their peers. And okay, in 8 rounds, Warriors and Cowboys have proved us wrong. Okay, they're better than what they are, but we don't know what they're going to be at the end of the season. And for me, I still don't have them in my 8. I don't think they're good sides. I think they can both be exposed by shitter teams on their day. Just hasn't happened so far. And against the good teams, I don't think they have a chance. So that's just my personal opinion. And a lot of people have been like, they were the main 2. Well, not really. I said South are not great. I said Roosters aren't great. And they're down there at the moment. I said Penrith outside of my 4, which when I said that, everyone was like, oh my God, what do you think Penrith out of the 4? They're literally last right now. So you get some right, you get some wrong. That's just the way it is. And at the moment, everyone's so high on Warriors. I said about Dragons as well, and that's shit. Warriors and Cowboys, and they just keep winning. But, one of them has to win this week. They can't both win. So this is a draw, which will be the perfect scenario for me because I could scream at both teams for drawing. But that's just my opinion. I don't think they're great. I still don't have them in my 8. I'd rather put Tigers above them, even though Tigers lost to Warriors. I still think Tigers, I know that they can score, and Warriors really score off the other team's mistakes. And at times, I know that they're just not going to make mistakes. Same with Cowboys. They're a mistake on their own. They can fucking do anything, and any performance can come up. So that's my take on those 2 teams, and that's closing out Magic Round. Hope you guys enjoy the round. It's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if we'll do some different videos for Magic Round. We did last year. We should be doing it for this year as well. And the next podcast in the review after the Raiders and Melbourne game, we'll be back to normal proceedings with both of us being on the podcast. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe, and peace.